DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's AMA. We are going to talk about a handful of updates and then dive into some questions. And to kick things off, we just wanted to recap ETH Denver real quick. So there were a few of us that were there, myself, Fox, KP, Sunbear, Tango, and Dreamer. We're all there in Denver having a good time, getting to meet people, hang out with everybody. Dreamer got to get up on stage, which hopefully you've all seen by now. But yeah, all in all, ETH Denver was an absolutely incredible event. I believe it's still the largest crypto event in the US. But it's a really cool event because it's free to attend. The tickets are free. So it brings out a really good crowd and a really different crowd from the events that, are $500 for a ticket. But it was a lot of fun getting to be there and talk to a lot of different projects and chains and people and individuals, and just generally being in the crypto vibe. But KP, any thoughts from you?
Definitely, Bolon. It was a great time. I mean, it was so much fun to go out and hang out with 20,000 plus other people. If you didn't get a chance to see the stream that I did last night with Brovia, went through some of the photos that we had with, Fox and Dreamer and the DFK meetup that happened at the Honey Elixir Bar in downtown Denver. It's just a great time to get together with so many builders in the space when it comes to Web3. I mean, the conference was just absolutely packed full of people. Tons of exhibitors, just a great time. I know that last year we went, it was just as big. And this year, obviously, with prices doing what they're doing right now and the bull market hopefully getting into full swing here, things were just that much better. And the conferences along the way that are going to happen here for the rest of the year are going to be really cool as well. I know that on you and some people are going to be down in Florida next week or this weekend coming up. I think Dreamer's flying out there right now, and there's other things that are going to be happening, including the Game Developer Conference that Sunbear and I are going to be attending in a couple of weeks up in San Francisco. So if you get a chance, get out there and meet the team. I mean, we're excited to get out and shake hands and see everybody and be able to talk about what's going on. But when Dreamer jumped up on stage at ETH Denver, I think that was a highlight because he flew in directly from Hawaii, got a little bit delayed, and I wasn't sure if he was going to make it or not. When he got up on stage during the Metis keynote conversation and got a chance to talk in front of the entire crowd there at ETH Denver and everybody that was getting live streamed too in the audience, and then bullish the crowd on the way out, that was one of the highlights as well. But yeah, it was just an amazing event, a great time to go, and make sure that you guys get out there and get a chance to attend some of these conferences because you get all the alpha there, and it's just a really great time. So I'll shoot it back to you, Bolon.
Thank you. Fox, anything you want to add about ETH Denver?
Yeah, no, I just want to echo that sentiment. It was really great. There was a lot of energy there, a lot of really cool exhibits, a lot of really cool projects that were there. A lot of games were there. I had a chance to speak with a handful of them. And it was actually really cool to explain to them more about DFK. I mean, half of them already knew about us, but there were some that didn't. And they're sort of asking like, well, how do you guys do this or that, or how is it on chain? And then they were just like amazed to hear like all the things that are actually being done. Like we have, on chain economy, we have everything's an ERC20 token. We have NFTs for everything and like on chain dueling and just all these things. They're like, wow, which is actually really interesting because I can't remember who posted it in our Slack. It might've been Sunbear or KP. Somebody posted something about like a trending thing in the space right now is like the popularity of the term on chain in like the search posts and things. I think a lot of people are starting to see and realize like, hey, this is a really cool tech, and how are games applying that tech and how can it be applied? And on chain is going to be a very popular narrative, which I think is really great because that's like, we are the OG of on-chain gaming. So yeah, I'm excited about that. It was also just really, really great to get to meet again. I mean, I don't think I met anyone on our team for the first time. No, yeah. We've all been around the block at like events, but it's like really good to just see everyone again there. and also meet a few community members for the first time. So that was really, really cool. And yeah, some old faces too, like Ogre and like others. So really just a great time. And happy to be home too. I was in the corner a fair amount of the time trying to work on like duels or LP staking or this or that. Because at heart, I'm still very much just like a builder, and I can only spend so much time meeting new people before I'm like, I gotta code something, you know. So that's kind of me. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Sunbear?
You know, it's really funny. Excuse me. In these events, you really see the team members do the things that they're so good at. You know, Fox, like he said, like he would spend time with projects and connecting the community here and there, but then he's like, okay, I'm off to code. I'm off to work on this issue. I'm off to work on this project. And so, you know, I mean, it's just who he is. And so, and then, you know, Bolon and KP, like constantly connecting with community and scheduling and like creating get-togethers and, you know, talking about marketing, things like that. Or I'm off like trying to connect with new partnerships or getting to know the Metis team. It was just really fun to see how we divided and conquered, and I think just really made the most of that space. I'll double up on what was said about Dreamer. Like he got there right as the excuse me, the keynote started. And Tom from Metis, which is one of the kind of the big woods for Metis L2, gave him quite a bit of time out of his keynote speech, and it was kind of like the culmination of everything, and really highlighting us, which which is exactly what they said from the beginning. Like they want us to be their game, their premier project, and they really showed up in that way. I'm going to mute and cough now, but yeah, great time. Got to know a lot of the Metis partners individually and as a group. Lots of brainstorming started, communication started, lots of planning happening, and so much we would love to talk about, but we can't until it's going live. But lots to come with that team.
For sure, for sure. And just one more note on the live events side, as KP mentioned, Sunbear, myself, and Dreamer will actually be in Orlando this coming weekend for the TWC, the World Crypto Conference. And so that is Friday evening and Saturday in Orlando. We actually do have tickets to give away. So if any of you are in the Florida area, I know a few of you have reached out already and I believe already gotten set up. But if anybody wants to come down to Orlando on Saturday, hit me up and we'll get you squared away with a ticket. You can reach out to me on Discord or Twitter or wherever else you want, I guess, really. But would love to have as many people as want to attend to come by and hang out with us. We're going to have a little booth set up. Dreamer's going to be speaking on a panel. So it should be a lot of fun, and we always love to see our community there when we can. So let me know if you're interested. Sunbear, I know you were coughing, but anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, so it's an exciting event. It's not a huge one, but these guys are really showing up for us in a big way. We asked for tickets to give to our community as an example, or even, you know, Metis, one of their main team members, their head of business development, is coming down as well. Cryptos Are Us, you know, our advisor is there, a big part of this event. So I think you're going to see some good streaming. And if you are able to come out, I think it'll be a good and productive time.
For sure. One last note on Metis, at least for the moment. There is a Binance vote currently for like what token to list next. Metis is in that running. So I will shoot out links after this. And if you are able and interested in voting for Metis to be listed on Binance, go let your voices be heard. So like I said, I'll drop links to that after the AMA. But it definitely a good way for us to support our new partner as well. Sunbear, did I miss anything on that?
Nope, they're just honestly they're just moving and shaking in a lot of ways. They've announced a lot of partnerships, a lot of new development for the chain, especially to make it more workable for a game like us. And I think they're just expanding out in multiple ways and getting more listings as one to get that Metis token more available out there. So yeah, if you can support, that would be amazing.
Yes, yes. Aside from that, obviously it's been a very big week. We've done a lot of things. We had Rockbot come out, then Bad Motherclucker. Sorry, we had Bad Motherclucker come out. Then we did the announcement with Metis, but we also had an update kind of over the last 2 days, really, to LP staking in Serendale. Fox, did you want to touch on that one?
Yeah, hopefully you can hear me okay. I had to switch over to my phone internet because for some reason like my Wi-Fi went out. But yeah, it's basically the start of a new era. The Jade token is now fully emitted, and similar to what happened with Crystal back in January, the end of December, start of January, we're seeing the same thing now with Jade. And so we switched that over to use our new paradigm of like LP staking, where you can earn rewards from that through a fee sharing like mechanism with all of our in-game smart contracts. And it seems like that's actually like working really well. There was a slight issue this morning with the gardening quest, needed to be updated a little bit to activate that, so that got done earlier this morning and should be okay now. If there's any issues anyone sees, just obviously feel free to reach out to us and let us know. But I'm excited about that. It's the start of a new era for our like economics really in game. So exciting times.
Yeah, at this point we do not have any tokens emitting right now, which is awesome. It's super exciting. Let's see. And then speaking of Bad Motherclucker, I believe Hubert has a couple of updates.
Yeah. Hey guys. So yeah, we released the Bad Motherclucker last week, as I think most of you are aware and have experienced. I've been enjoying reading everyone's feedback, watching the streams that I've been able to catch, and just overall very happy with the response that we've gotten and the amount of engagement. We did have the double rewards week that ended yesterday, so I just wanted to mention that. I saw people managed to get every single piece of equipment that's available during that week, so now everyone knows what's there, and including the Gorax that we added to the loot table of the Mad Boar Hunt as well. It'll be interesting to see, as kind of more of that loot gets out there, people are able to try out different combinations. I think I'm not sure if that more than one Eggscalibler has been created at this point, but see, the guy that got it seems like he's enjoying it. I think that was Majin or Majin. Majin would be how it would be pronounced in Japanese. But it's really lucky for him to have that. I'm jealous. I want one. I have yet to get. I wasn't really able to do too many hunts myself over that week, so I didn't get anything out of the Bad Motherclucker fight, but I did get a gore staff, so that was cool. But yeah, so mention that. I also just want to mention that we are, incorporating a lot of the feedback, seeing what things have been kind of a little too overpowered, what things have been a little underpowered, and are going to be making a few adjustments here in the coming days. We're just in the process of testing those right now, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, I think that covers everything. Also, just a reminder as well that we do have the sponsored Clay Hunt raffle going on right now. So, right now there's extra incentive to be doing the hunts and getting chances to win those. I've seen a lot of people that are kind of regulars in our Discord win some of those. So, congrats to all of you, and to anyone else that's listening that I didn't recognize. Congrats to you as well. I have yet to win yet myself, and I am sad about that. But I mean, I'm only doing like 2 or 3 days. So anyway, yep, that's me.
Do you know off the top of your head if the top version of any equipment has been found yet? I believe it has not been so far.
So far, I haven't seen any. I've seen a few of like the second to the top. And I guess I'll just mention with the armor that comes for the Bad Motherclucker fight, or not just the armor, but all the equipment. We increased the number of things that are random on most of them. So, getting the top of something requires getting like multiple roles that are very, very low chance to be successful. So you can get like the top in one of them more easily, but getting the top in all of them is going to be pretty, would be quite the item, I think. Yeah.
So you heard it here, folks. The best is still out there. You still got to go looking for it. I do hope that you've all appreciated the names of all the drops in Bad Motherclucker, because I love them. They're so good. Y'all knocked it out of the park with that naming.
Yes, thank you. That was a fun effort to get all those names. We're juvenile adults.
What's the point if we aren't having fun, right?
Yeah.
And then last update, and then we'll get into some questions. Frisky Fox, anything you want to say about duels?
Yeah, just that it's still being worked on. I'm actually putting some finishing touches on the deathmatch mode right now, and hoping to get it out as soon as I can. It's just, this is like the last big update to duel, so I just wanted to make sure it's got some cool things. But yeah, bear with me. I'm still working on it.
I'm really just wondering how many people heard what you actually just said. Yeah, super excited for what's coming. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and it'll be awesome to have it set up to be a little more self-sustaining moving forward as well. So that'll be super cool. Also, appreciate all the work that you are doing there. All right, let's see. Oh, real quick before we go into questions, a couple acknowledgments. So we do not have Dreamer, Beetle, or Magnus here with us today. Dreamer is traveling to Florida for the event this weekend. Beetle had something come up in real life, and Magnus doesn't have any specific questions or anything for him this week, so he decided to sit out so that he could keep doing some coding work. But just wanted to give all three of them a shout out. They are staples of our AMA, and didn't want to just not acknowledge them not being here. All right, diving into some questions. It is time for Hubert Hour to start. Thoughts on Resurrection and Second Life returning MP upon revival?
Yeah, I've seen that. I think people have kind of pointed me towards that question a few times so far. And I guess I see the argument for it. I guess in terms of, if the timing is wrong and you are out of resources and then you get resurrected, it doesn't give you that big of a chance to recover from that point. But I mean, if it's like earlier on, something just goes wrong during the fight and you're able to resurrect, it gives you an opportunity to recover that currently there really isn't any opportunity for that. Like as soon as a hero goes down, it's usually a hard time after that point. So I'm not really convinced that the skill is as weak as those that are saying, suggesting this are saying. I think, obviously we're going to be testing it out as we are implementing it to make sure it feels appropriately strong for like the degree of effort it takes to make it or to get that trait. So, or those two traits. So I with its current form right now, it may not stay as is. But yeah, I don't know that I really support the idea of it including MP gain. I mean, if it feels like that's the only way to make it feel appropriately strong, then maybe. But I think there's other things we could do instead that maybe would be more in line of, I guess, how I think about it. I don't know. Workhorse, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, MP gain is super powerful, and so it's like a slippery slope. Definitely a give a mouse a cookie scenario. And Hubert and the gang has definitely been super conscientious of making sure that mana regen and easy mana loops are not possible. And so I would say this probably isn't something that would happen. And if mana is manipulated, it may come in other ways in the future. Definitely super calculated ways, because it can definitely turn into a runaway train.
And just to make sure that we all understand the current setup, the MP that you had on death, I mean, you're basically just healing the hero in essence, but you're healing it after it's dead, right?
Right. Yep. And just be able to stand back up again. So just kind of like the eggs do in the bad Motherclucker fight. So
Nice. Appreciate it there. Let's see. Speaking of our last patch notes, what do the patch notes mean when they refer to competitive play? That was a direct shout out to the Mythic Squad Void Hunt tournament, as well as other tournaments that are being organized also. So yes, that was just a straight up shout out to you guys for putting together directly competitive play using the Void Hunts, which we are super excited to see. It's awesome. And soon, relatively speaking, there'll be PvP. Let's see. Can you confuse a dead combatant? Or no, I'm sorry. Can confuse attack a dead combatant? Sorry, I was reading multiple things at once.
no worries. So I would have to double check with Beetle to make sure it's programmed the way I think it is. But I think it does not include targeting any dead opponents or allies. And if it did, I would actually probably push to remove that, because I think it doesn't make as much sense as a confused target hitting the first thing that he sees moving. So, the dead targets aren't moving.
Makes sense. Related to that, speaking of confused, if Hero A were to have an ability such as Riposte or Retaliate, where taking damage triggers a response, and Hero B were to be confused and attack Hero A, would Hero A then respond back to Hero B?
Sounds like a Matty Pesk question.
It actually was not.
Oh.
It does. It wasn't. Maddie's slacking.
Oh, well, let's see. So this is another one where I would need to double check with how it got programmed. I think the way that I would want that to work is like Retaliate wouldn't trigger, because the ally would know that would hit its ally, but Riposte is kind of more like spikes, kind of an idea where the damage just kind of you're hitting something that's just spiky and it hurts you in the process. So I would think Riposte would trigger, but Retaliate would not. But I'll need to double check with Beetle and see how we have that set up.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Let's see. According to the dev docs, thieves and ninjas cannot use focuses, shields, or two-handed weapons. Is there an offhand item they can use, or can they wield a second weapon in their offhand?
So the offhand slot is not designed to include any weapons. So I guess it just we didn't design it that way, and I don't think we're going to change the design to do that, because that would be a pretty major overhaul of everything. So there won't be that. With that said, though, we do have the option of adding more offhands than currently have been discussed at this point. And I have considered that for some of those classes that don't have any options for that slot. So I'll say, it's possible and something that I'm not opposed to doing, just not something that's a high priority to work out at the moment.
Cool. Let's see. Can you inform us about all the other partnerships coming up in the next few months, or a roadmap? As far as partnerships, no, we can't. Either they are not formed yet or finalized yet, or they're pending an announcement. But those aren't something that we can really speak about in advance. And then in terms of the roadmap, the next few things on the table are additional combat classes, expeditions, and then PvP as per our announcement last week. Sunbear, anything you want to add on the partnership front?
Yeah, sure. So, we're constantly in conversations with, I would say dozens of partners, whether that's, on Telegram or Slack or just, meetings and whatnot, events. And if we start working on exploring compatibility between the teams and really trying to figure out ways that we can work together, we kind of automatically go into a little bit of a non-disclosure agreement because we don't know the outcome of that potential partnership and don't want to speak ahead of time before it's completed. And so we do kind of hold that close until it's official and gets announced, and both parties are ready to do that and know exactly what that looks like. We even review each other's announcements and meet as marketing teams to make sure that everything that's put out in articles and whatnot is good to go and represents well. And so we try really hard to be solid partners, and I think that's how we've maintained such great relationships with other solid partners. And when honestly in this space, if people aren't playing nicely, so to speak, or not completely honest or truthful, we're not working with them. So we are a group and a project that has a lot of integrity and a lot of motivation and a lot of vision, and so we're really thoughtful about all those kinds of things. So yeah, just there's just a little more context I wanted to give you. Back to you, Vaughn.
Yeah, and sometimes they also include actual NDAs. So sometimes
Absolutely, often.
yeah, most of the time probably. But yeah, so that is where we are at the moment. Hubert, anything or anybody else, I guess, anything you wanted to add, I guess, really to either side of that, but the roadmap side?
Yeah, I guess on the roadmap, I'll just say that, we are always cautious to add things to that, just because we do have a lot of things that we've already announced and are still working on. And as we develop, there are kind of occasional like little things that we add in along the way as well, that are kind of additions to one of the things that's on the roadmap, or sometimes just something that becomes necessary to do. But yeah, so I guess in terms of like doing and I might not have caught exactly what the question was asking, but like any insight or update to it, I think for the time being, we're focusing on PvP and PvE content and getting the combat engine fleshed out more and more. We'll always be looking at things that we can also accomplish in the process of doing all of that, but I don't know that we're going to be adding anything additional to that. And sorry if there was something on the question that I just completely skipped over.
No, you're good. Awesome. All right. So, on the Metis rewards and PvP, much love to Sunbear for securing this partnership with Metis. Agreed. PvP is a massive marketing opportunity. Takes considerable effort for new players to get fully immersed. Incremental Metis rewards may not be as incentivizing as a new speculative token or a land NFT, and just general thoughts around that. I'll kick this off, but anybody's welcome to add in as well. So first and foremost, I think we will be looking at pretty heavily incentivizing some of these tournaments, especially where lands could be an option, Gen Zeros could be an option. Realistically, like anything that we are currently able to disperse or distribute become options for PvP in tournaments, and that's kind of the design that we have in mind. But outside of that, not going into numbers, but I will just say the Metis rewards that we have the potential to be rewarding is not what I would consider to be incremental. It's pretty significant. We should be in a position when that time comes to be able to put up some pretty sizable tournament rewards, and that's what we want to do. We've talked about tournaments for a long time and incentivizing them and making them very worthwhile, and this will be that coming to fruition. So that's my spiel. But anybody want to add anything to that?
I'll jump in. I'm so excited about PvP, guys. I know, we've talked about it for a long time. People have asked how long until it comes, but just this is the culmination of everything that's been built out in the game so far. This is the way we're building this. It's a way to bring multiple realms and people from multiple realms, their heroes, into this Coliseum, into a new chain. to engage in private battles where they set the parameters, they set the wages, like, or wagers, and just have a lot of fun with it. And then to build out a DFK tournament system where we can have tournaments often and with all kinds of parameters as well, with big rewards, not just for Metis, for us. Like it's a big deal to build these teams and have it move forward like that. It's going to attract so many people into the game that are ready for gameplay, like real fun PvP esports style gameplay. And it's not just what we'll do. Like we're going to have all kinds of outside entities, whether it's you in the community or other partners, bringing in rewards and running tournaments in the system as well. So it's just, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of I am super excited about. I don't think we can, I mean, we shouldn't undersell it, because it is a big thing. I think it's going to be the biggest thing from this game that we've seen so far.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit as well. I think that, if people are sleeping on what Metis is actually available to do for the marketing side and the sponsorship side and everything else that's going to go into these next couple of months to make PvP successful, they are 110% behind what it is that we want to do. In fact, we've already had great discussions with them about, what we're going to do at certain events and things that are coming up, but they're excited about having global tournaments. That was one of the things they brought up, is that we'd have a live tournament and then have people that could stream in from different parts of the world and, continue to play in these types of tournaments. So I just, I'm so excited and bullish about what these next couple of months are going to hold, because everybody on our team is 100% geared in now on, like Hubert said, PvE and PvP. And I know that Fox and Magnus are already trying to figure out the best way to get assets back and forth, and how we're going to be able to do things as efficiently and as cost effectively with gas and everything as possible. But Metis couldn't be a better partner, and Sunbear just deserves a ton of credit for putting this all together and making it happen. As far as the partnerships go, I mean, they're also an Ethereum layer 2, guys. I mean, this is a really big deal because of all the total value lock, like I'm sure on Ethereum. They've also been around for a really long time. I mean, you might have never heard of Metis, but they've been around since May of 2021. You can go back and take a look at their price charts and what they did and how they had to go through that first bull market like DFK did, and where they went to down in the depths of the bear market and where they are today right now. And, as we start to see these token prices and different things increase over time here as we hit a bull market, hopefully. I mean, that's just going to add that much more desirability to all of the prize pools and all the things that are going to happen here. So yeah, the amount of excitement that the team has and the amount of excitement that Metis has, it can't be understated right now. And in fact, Tom's flying into Orlando. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bolong, but I think he's going to be there too for that, or Matt, excuse me, to be able to jump on, into the conversation there. And they're talking about different speaker partnerships and different conferences coming up. So yeah, it's a great partnership deal. And I think that the entire community is going to be so excited once these things launch, and the PvP aspect is in full swing. Back to you.
I'll just add real quick, KP. I wanted to add this last week and didn't get a chance, but even through our conversations, some of the partnerships that they've been creating and have announced were influenced by the fact that they wanted to bring us on to their chain, and that we were just really clear with them, like we were not able to bring over a full realm, for example, or bring over a major feature unless they did add like several new options or additions, like Eigenlayer, for example, to make it affordable for our players. And so they're bullish at so many levels, and that's just another example of that.
I'm also going to hop in here, but I want to echo everything that KP said. It's really cool. I mean, as a project, we have a long history of basically pushing the envelope about what it means to be an on-chain game and what it means to be in the space here. And we've really built a lot of cool things. And with this partnership, we're still doing that. Like, we're basically trying to push the envelope on what is possible on the Ethereum ecosystem, on like an L2 there, and what are the ways that we can really integrate that into the experience and really take advantage of some of the strengths that a network like that offers. And also, like, a lot of people sort of think this wouldn't, nothing said as financial advice. Okay, I just saw that. So that's obviously like something that we are excited to work with their team on it, and they're excited to work with us on that and really see what they can do on their chain and how they can push that. So it's really a great partnership. I'm really pleased with how it's turned out so far and really excited about the future.
Awesome. Yes, I am also incredibly stoked for this partnership. As a reminder, if you didn't see my banner there, nothing said is financial advice. Always do your own research. We are just speaking our opinions. Let's see.
Hold on, are you still there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now.
Okay. Well, in case anybody else couldn't hear me, if you missed my banner, nothing said is financial advice. We are just speaking our opinions. Always do your own research, especially when it comes to money. All right.
Yep. I thought like you were just sticking that up only like when I talk.
No, just a coincidence of timing. Let's see. Another Hubert-related question: at what stage of PVE can we expect fully level-locked hunts or fights? So rather than having the enemy difficulty be scaling, you are required to be at a certain level to be able to participate in that fight at all.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think so. With the void hunts in particular, I like the level scaling aspect that we've created with it, just in that it always is a challenge even at higher levels. If there's some party matchups that you can do that make it a little less dangerous, I guess. But in general, I like that. The goal there is that it's generally always a challenge and something can always go wrong. So if we're talking about something where we don't do that and we take out the level scaling and instead have just like a minimum level requirement, I guess if we're talking like end game, where right now we could have with level 20 being the cap, content that you can only do with level 20s, for example, that kind of end game content I am interested in doing eventually. I don't see it happening anytime soon, just with as many things as we're building right now. But I think that we will probably have kind of phases where when we get kind of a lot further down the road, have a lot of things already in place, and are just adding content to the game, where we'll be focusing on end game and what we can provide prior to like increasing the level cap. But then once that level cap's increased, I'm not sure that we'd leave that content as like non-scalable if it were still available. So I guess it would depend on if it's a void hunt or if it's a different form of PvE, which some of the other forms that we've been talking about are more designed around just the enemies you fight are a specific level, and you could be above or below them, and your effectiveness at that fight will kind of be driven by that. So you would be able to farm like weaker things if you wanted to with stronger guys, and probably make short work of it all, or challenge something that's harder than you and still probably be able to get through it, because we're not making those particularly hard. But I don't know, Workhorse, I don't know if you wanted to add any more to that, since you've been working on a lot of that in the background. But yeah.
Sadly, I've been losing my connection in and out here, so hopefully I only got bits and pieces of that. But everything that Hubert said was 100% accurate.
We can hear you great. You can't hear us, apparently.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm getting you guys in and out. I might be experiencing what Fox is experiencing.
Gotcha. Let's see. Thoughts on a feature to allow purchasing multiple heroes all in one go to speed up hero shopping? I'll say this is actually something that we've talked about also in connection with one of our partners and a service that they will be offering in the future. But there's questions around handling and how exactly we could make that work, because if you were to put several heroes in a shopping cart, so to speak, and somebody comes in and buys one of those heroes before you check out, all of those things have to be kind of accounted for and handled. So it is something that we're talking about and thinking about, but not something that we have an immediate clear solution for. Anybody want to add anything to that? All right. There's a question about having stamina begin regenerating when a hunt either is won or the retry timer expires rather than when rewards are collected. I believe that has been completed. Is that correct?
We did it. It's there. So yeah, it's the stamina part will be considered like from the moment it's been submitted as complete by our executor. So yeah, if you for some reason don't claim or collect, for several hours, for whatever reason, you'll get that stamina back. So glad we were able to make that change, and thank you for those that kind of mentioned that was a thing going on, because it was not on our radar at the time.
For sure. Thoughts on having some faint visual cue in battle to indicate a hero's rarity?
I feel like I need an SBD here to really get some commentary on that. I'm not necessarily opposed to the idea, but I guess it's just a matter of where we want to focus our resources, and if that would be more valuable than like another set of equipment or other things. I mean, you can see it, of course, if you just look at in the hero cards, in like the little information window on the top left. If you click that, so that'll be there. I imagine probably what people are thinking is just when PvP comes out, like to be able to see at a glance, somehow like some sort of aura or something like that. So I mean, we can talk about it internally and see if there's, we could, that's something we want to do or not. But I guess that's at least my thoughts on it. I can't really commit one way or another.
Yeah, I'm sitting right next to second best dad, and he's whispering in my ear that we're gonna definitely, maybe. That's it.
Would the team reconsider the durability factor on amulets?
No. Yeah, no. I'll say that, I can understand the concern about some of these extremely rare things being, degradable. I understand, but I also don't really want to create a situation where there's no penalty for having, for using some of the best gear that exists. So like if we didn't have that, then in PvP, then we kind of run against the situation where like those that manage to collect the very best of the very best are just going to always be in that position. And unless the durability happens, they don't really have to make any adjustments, and it just becomes harder for everybody else to beat them. That's kind of a scenario I want to avoid. But with that said, I will say that we have some plans that I think will alleviate some of those concerns for you guys too. So, but I'll just leave it at that for now.
Very nice. Thoughts on additional differentiation for rarity outside of stat growth?
Yeah, I mean, rarity does come into play for more things than that. I mean, it comes into play with your odds of getting, equally rare things or higher rarity things when you're summoning, when you're dark summoning. And I think, we've kind of alluded to a new burn mechanic that we haven't really announced yet. That's getting very close, by the way, to at least kind of being in a state where it's fully designed and fully analyzed, and we're ready to like start talking about it seriously. But in there as well is, I think, some extra nods to rarity as well. So I think, we are keeping rarity in mind with a lot of things, but in general, the way it helps a hero just with their stats, as far as the combat system goes and things like that, it's the stats are kind of what matter. If you're getting extra luck because of your rarity, that means you have higher chances to get items because of it. If you get better, more dexterity, your accuracy is better, and so on. So like stats very much matter. Like the goal of this design and of the combat engine is that stats matter. So I think it should not be discounted, like how much rarity helps in that regard.
Agreed. Any insight on what was originally planned for PJ Quests and PJ Tournaments and how much that may or has changed so far?
Yeah, so I mean, the original thought, we were doing that at a time where we had just barely finished training quests, and we're looking to do like another thing that would, be able to do tournaments in the short term without having a complete combat system. So I was thinking of it being kind of a more simple stat matchup that maybe use some of the formulas that we use in the training quest actually for that. However, now that we've, a lot of things happened since then, a lot of our priorities shifted, and we do have a combat engine in place now. So I think that there is room for us to be considering what we could potentially do with that. All the classes aren't implemented yet, so it's kind of hard to just say we'll just have combat, since there might be some Dread Knights that are not implemented that have it, and then it's like, well, you have to use those. So I think there's more things for us to consider if we're going to use that, and if we don't, then it could still end up being something more along the lines of what I just described previously. But our technology has advanced a lot since then. I want to make sure that we're taking best advantage of that, and making decisions that are going to be the most engaging for players, and while also not leaving some people out because of just the state of development. So we haven't really spent too much time working out what we want to do on that, so I don't want to say too much more, but we definitely want to make sure we're making the best decisions for everybody.
Any thoughts on when or around travel being implemented, having a day and night cycle in game?
So that we've talked about it, and it's something that I'll say that I like the idea of, especially kind of with the overall vision of where the game, where I'd like the game to go, in terms of having there be a lot more kind of random events that occur based on your location and the things you're doing, and potentially even your party makeup. Like having there be a day and night cycle also just, it adds more conditions to like being able to have special encounters. It's like you can only do this at this location when it's nighttime, things like that. Like that's really cool to me as far as like an RPG experience goes. That's stuff that really gets my blood flowing real good. So I like the idea. I don't know that it's something that we're, going to be prioritizing or even doing for sure at this point, but I can say we've talked about it, and it seems like a lot of people like the idea, but again, priorities and whatnot, I think if we were to do it, it would be something much further down the road.
Yeah, I'll just say I'm also a huge fan of it. I can't remember their Discord handle now, but somebody a while back had made a mock-up of like a nighttime Sarandale, and it was super cool, and I've been obsessed with it since. Let's see. General thoughts on our goal of building as much on-chain as possible. Fox, I don't know if you want to kick that off.
Oh yeah, I gotta stop staying in the chat and actually listen. But on chain, I sort of said it earlier. It's a big thing, and it's an important thing in this space. It's the reason we're in this space. I think you see a lot of really cool use cases out there for blockchain, and there's so many. It just applies to so many different fields, but it especially applies, I think, like to things like games. Real world economies within a game. You see that in the past. I mean, MMORPGs and things, a lot of times you'll have like a black market for stuff, and like the company tries to really like crack down on it and have accounts get banned and things. And the reason why is because like the market isn't meant to be peer-to-peer in a lot of those games. But with blockchain, like that's really like one of the strong points is you have a real world peer-to-peer economy, and it's encouraged and it's sponsored in the interface. And I think that's really, really cool. The other thing is on chain, like, why did we build on chain? it's not because it was easy. I've said it before. We did it because it's hard and because we want to push the envelope. I see a lot of other games out there that are, like traditional games that have sort of like the token amount, no pun intended, of on-chain functionality where they'll say, hey, if you do this or that, we'll like mint you an NFT, and that's cool. And honestly, it's a really, really good use case. And I'm not trying to laugh at any of those because really it's a very good use case, but it's just the tip of the iceberg, and we want to be the entire iceberg of on-chain gaming. And so I sort of like mentioned it earlier that on-chain is actually a trending term right now because a lot of other people are starting to see that whole dream and that whole like plan for on-chain gaming, and it's exciting. So yeah, that's all I'll say about that for now. Thank you.
Anybody want to add anything to that? And then we'll take our last question, and we do have a special guest joining us as well.
Yeah, I guess I'll just say, a part of the allure that got me to, even join this team was the fact that we were trying to do it all on chain. It was something that was novel and difficult to do, and had a lot of things that you wouldn't need to face when you're just doing regular game development. So that was really interesting to me, and it has proven to be very very challenging and tricky to like set up smart contracts in a way, set up NFTs in a way where we can actually have essentially an RPG system that allows for all, most of the things that you'd see in other games, but running on chain. To me, it's really cool. I mean, we did end up moving the combat engine off chain just to be able to have the complexity that it has, and for gas reasons. But I think as much as possible by having it set up this way, it does create a very unique ecosystem that I'm happy that we made it, and I'm happy to see it grow as we build more, and really just excited to see what the future is going to bring by us kind of going down this route. So yeah, that's all. It doesn't really add too much, but that's my thoughts.
Always appreciated. Thank you both. All right, one last question, and then we are going to bring up our surprise special guest. If you want to take a guess at who you think it might be, feel free to throw it in chat. But last question. A PvP mode where one player controls the NPC part of the Void Hunt against another player.
Yeah, that sounds like everyone's just going to be spamming Wild Charge to me, but that is kind of an interesting idea. I think I wonder how I don't know. I expect that would probably take us a lot of time to actually be able to implement. So it's probably not something that we would be thinking about doing, at least any time in the near term. But it's funny and an interesting idea, and and it's like, oh, what if we had like the boars against the rock box or something like that, which also would be kind of interesting. But I just
I want boars versus rock box.
Yeah, I think was that you, Bolin, that said that in the earlier?
It was, yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, it's an interesting idea, just something that would be so different than what we're trying to do right now that it would be a pretty big distraction. So it's not something that you'd be seeing anytime soon. But yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Now, introducing our very special guest for this week, we have Wowie.
Woo! Yoski broskies, what's going on?
Hello, good sir.
Wowie's here? What?
Wowie's here.
I hope you guys are having a fan-freaking-tastic Thursday. I heard you guys talking PvP, so I had to make an appearance.
Absolutely. I believe you've got something coming up that you're going to tell us about real quick prior to that, because you can tell us about it, ask any question you want, bullish us. But just as a quick note, I just want to say thank you, everybody who has tuned in. Thank you, everybody who listens to this later. We greatly appreciate you. Please make sure that you submit your questions at talk.defykingdoms.com or in the AMA questions channel in our Discord, so that we can keep having fantastic questions to answer. So thank you all. Over to you, Wowie.
All right, sweet. I'm going to do all three of those things, by the way. So first up, the announcement. This Saturday, I will be co-hosting with ours truly, Maddie Pesk, the Super Spec Sheet re-ranking talk show and epic stream trademark marathon giveaway extravaganza, where I go over all of the new information that I could possibly update in my Super Spec Sheet. We re-rate everything. We talk about everything and how it's changed in basically my opinion, since we've been able to play with everything for a full 12 hours straight marathon stream. I'm going from noon to midnight at least, Eastern Standard Time, obviously, because I live in Florida. But we've got so many people that are going to be cycling in. We've got all kinds of content creators, your favorite DFK content creators. And we've even got members of the DFK team that are going to be coming on to answer questions and talk about everything. And that's not all. We're doing giveaways. Our goal was to do a giveaway every single hour, but we are exceeding that because of the incredible community DeFi Kingdoms has. So many people have donated into the stream for this Saturday that we're going to be having a giveaway at least every half hour. So make sure you show up, make sure you enjoy and win some stuff.
Super excited for that. I know several of us will be stopping by. I'll be at TWC, but I'm going to make an appearance anyway, and hopefully get y'all a little sneak peek of what TWC is looking like also. So yeah, all in all, this is going to be a lot of fun. Major shout out to you for going for 12 hours. That's going to be a long time.
That's so crazy.
Awesome.
As he was listing out all those things, I was doing the dude from like WWE, and like just what? It's crazy.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it's going to be so much. And I mean, you know how Maddie Pesk and I could just like go down a rabbit hole for hours. I mean, I think when I say 12 hours, it's really just a 12-hour minimum. I have no doubt in my mind we're going to go over, because I've never finished on time when I stream.
Yes, that is very true.
That's so awesome, Wowie. I think Sir Worm's in the chat right now too, and he wants a 24-hour stream. So you think you can do that?
I'll have to pick up like 3-4 packs of Red Bull, but maybe I might be able to do that. I'll stop just before my heart explodes.
I believe in you. Did you say you had a question as well?
Yes, I do have a question.
Let's
because
go.
I really enjoyed that MP loop or mana battery question earlier in the AMA. And I wanted to ask, because I do agree that MP loops and mana batteries do get out of hand really, really, really quick. But I wanted to get the opinion on incentivizing basic attacks for restoring a small amount of MP whenever you use it. That way, at the very end of a fight, when all you've got is basic attacks on everybody because you've expended all of your resources possible, and you're just trying to trudge through it, hoping to get that extra damage on, maybe getting a little bit of extra mana over time with your basic attacks to do one final big move would just feel so much better and allow for a lot more counterplay and strategy. What do you guys think about that?
That is an interesting idea. I think, there's always that balance between, making something easier and more fun, and also like sustainability. Because we are talking about dungeons and, other kinds of wave type fights. And I'd never want to create a situation where there would be something like that you can keep alive that's not going to harm you very much, but you can slowly regenerate your MP over time just to be able to be stronger for the next fight. If it's especially to the point where it's exploitable. But I think there would be ways where we could maybe do something along those lines where that wouldn't be a problem. So I'll have it in my mind. I don't know. Of course, you want to add more to that?
I mean, to me, it sounds like Huawei's just blowing spells left and right. And maybe you should save some of them spells for when he needs them most.
But they're so fun and cool.
No, I think
roast hour.
I think actually tune in on Saturday, everybody. I'm going to be joining Huawei for a good chunk of this. This is 100% what we're just going to talk about for like a whole hour, so this will be very fun. But I think that's also a symptom of perhaps some of the mana costs currently or at current hero levels feel a little high. And that will change over time as hero levels grow. So do mana pools, and scaling changes based upon spells. So maybe something that feels bad now and blows mana fast today may not be so in the future. So there are ways to solve this without providing regen abilities through a basic attack. However, I do think the idea is quite novel, and I do enjoy it. But I do, as you noted, it can get spicy fast when it comes to mana regen skills. But I do appreciate the idea very much so.
I appreciate the consideration.
All right. Once again, thank you everybody who has tuned in. Thank you everybody who listens to this later. Please keep submitting your questions. We greatly appreciate all of you. And Wowie, you want to send us home?
Gladly. Bullish!
Bullish! See you all next week.
See you guys. Smash the like button.
DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.